Honestly, no one would want to be in Kevin Webster's shoes right now. After overcoming testicular cancer, he dreamed of settling down with his wife, but she left him, only for Kevin to later discover she had been secretly involved with his brother Carl. Kevin sensed that his marriage with Abby was falling apart and grew increasingly suspicious of her closeness to Carl. In desperation, he even pretended his cancer had returned, though doctors had already confirmed his recovery, just to stop her from walking away. When Abby uncovered his deception, she decided to stay for the children's sake, but carried on her affair with Carl behind Kevin's back. Their secret was exposed by Tracy Barlow, who blackmailed them for money until the cold-hearted Carl silenced her by trashing her shop and intimidating her elderly father, Ken Barlow. Later, when Kevin joyfully shared the news of his clean bill of health and his dream of enjoying retirement together, Abby couldn't take it anymore. She shattered him by asking for a divorce, carefully avoiding any mention of her feelings for his brother. Even though Kevin and Abby agreed to co-parent peacefully, Debbie Webster soon stumbled upon the truth. Carl tried to mislead her cruelly by exploiting her memory issues, but she eventually found undeniable evidence proving her suspicions correct. Everything finally boiled over at Ronnie Bailey's birthday gathering, where Kevin, Abby, Carl, and even James Bailey were all present at once. When Abby accidentally sent a message intended for Carl to Kevin, she set off a chain reaction waiting to blow up. Although Carl managed to delete the text from Kevin's phone, Kevin later found it on Alfie's tablet, sparking an explosive confrontation. Kevin pleaded that they could still repair their marriage, but Abby made her stance firm. It was finished. She packed her things and left to stay with Carl at a hotel. The following day, Kevin angrily tossed Abby's belongings out onto the street, demanded her house key back, and told her to never return. In the next episode, Abby reaches out to Kevin, offering to let him spend a day with Alfie. Kevin feels overjoyed since he'd told Debbie that losing Alfie, whom he's cared for since birth, was the hardest part of their separation. However, when Kevin shows up, his visible anger and pain lead Abby to retract her offer, assuring him he can see Alfie another time. Outside, Kevin collapses emotionally, bursting into tears, completely broken by the series of blows he's recently endured. A shocking case of infidelity is set to shake Coronation Street as Todd Grimshaw is left stunned by Theo Silverton's latest betrayal. Since getting together with Theo, Todd has endured endless chaos, but Theo's newest stunt may finally push him over the edge. Life has been unbearably complicated for Todd ever since he fell for Theo. At first, he tried to excuse Theo's controlling and explosive temper, believing it to be lingering trauma from the horrific conversion therapy he once endured. The collapse of Theo's marriage after coming to terms with his identity and the later involvement of the deranged therapist Noah Headley gave Todd even more reasons to overlook Theo's worsening cruelty. However, Todd's patience turned to horror when Theo's manipulation crossed into violence. Just last month, Theo assaulted Todd for the first time, trying to force-feed him kebab meat during a heated argument. Although Todd threw him out, Theo soon wormed his way back into Todd's life, continuing his abuse in more subtle but equally painful ways. A random encounter with an old boyfriend in Manchester's gay village revealed the truth. Theo was a serial abuser. The shocking revelation sparked another fight between the couple, after which Theo vanished without warning. Despite knowing Todd was terrified for his safety, Theo stayed hidden for as long as possible, only reappearing dramatically to rescue Asha Alahan, soaking up the praise of being called a hero, a moment that saw Todd reluctantly let him return home. As Noah's funeral draws near, Todd lies about not attending due to work, when in reality, he's going to the hospital for a bowel cancer checkup. He confides in Billy Mayhew, begging him to keep it secret so Theo doesn't stress further. Fortunately for Todd, the ever-watchful George Shuttleworth uncovers the truth and insists on going with him to the appointment for support. Meanwhile, after landing a profitable business deal with newcomer Pete and Gary Windass, Theo grows suspicious and confronts Billy about what Todd is hiding. His anger spikes when Billy receives a call from Todd and steps outside to answer it. The next morning, Todd drags himself home with a terrible hangover, admitting he spent the night at Billy's but assuring Theo nothing happened. However, his apology is cut short when Pete walks out of the bathroom, leaving Todd speechless. Feeling betrayed, Todd lashes out at Theo with accusations of cheating, but Theo stays icy and unapologetic, throwing Todd's own secrets back in his face. Furious and heartbroken, Todd finally snaps, ordering Theo to pack up and leave. Later that evening at the Rovers, Theo approaches Todd carefully, hoping to reconcile. But forgiveness is the last thing on Todd's mind. Instead, he begins plotting a revenge plan of his own. Has Todd finally seen Theo for who he really is, or will Theo once again twist things and crawl back into Todd's life? The fate of Becky Swain seems sealed in Coronation Street, as she's warned to vanish once and for all. Believed to have died years ago, Becky shocked everyone when she suddenly resurfaced in Weatherfield, dropping a massive bombshell on her ex-wife D.S. Lisa Swain, their daughter Betsy, and Lisa's current fiancée Carla Connor, revealing that she'd been alive all along. Lisa was left utterly speechless. For 4 long years, she had mourned her wife's death alongside Betsy, believing she was gone forever. Becky finally explained her mysterious disappearance, confessing that she had been deep undercover with a dangerous crime syndicate, trying to dismantle it from within. When her cover was blown and both her own and her family's lives were endangered, she faked her death and fled to Spain to stay hidden. Lisa's shock quickly turned to anger, furious that Becky had risked their lives and put them through unbearable grief instead of finding another way to keep them safe. Initially, Lisa decided to keep the truth from Betsy, but that plan fell apart when Betsy ran into Ryan Connor, leading to Becky's unexpected reunion with her daughter. With Becky back in the picture, the tension between her and Carla was palpable. Carla struggled to accept her fiancé's ex-wife suddenly being part of their lives again. Becky tried forming an alliance with Kit Green, but shady D.I. Costello sabotaged their plans by seducing Kit with the promise of a promotion. It soon emerged that Costello had secretly conspired with Becky during her death, having arranged for a different body to be identified as hers so she could disappear. Now that Becky has resurfaced, Costello is panicking, desperate to drive her out of Weatherfield before the truth unravels. Next week, while Carla heads to Ireland, uneasy about leaving Lisa alone with her ex, actress Amy Cudden Becky teases what's coming. If you mix Lisa's old feelings for Becky with Becky's obsessive need to reunite her family, it creates a primal kind of pull. Of course, that's a threat, but remember, it's Carla Connor we're talking about. She's one of the toughest women around. It sets up a fascinating power struggle between two fiercely determined women, both fighting for love. So yes, Becky's a threat, but Carla's no pushover. Things start to warm slightly between Lisa and Becky when Betsy persuades them to help model her fashion project for college. As the trio begin to reconnect, Betsy records the moment and uploads it online, unaware of the chaos that will follow. Becky panics, fearing her survival secret could be exposed. One of Becky's tactics to win back Lisa and Betsy is humor. Clowning around, making them laugh, breaking the tension, Amy explained. It's during one of those light moments that Betsy innocently films them. Yes, it puts Becky in danger, but she also subtly manipulates the guilt it causes. She's used to reading the room and using emotion to her advantage. The situation worsens when Costello calls and orders Becky to disappear immediately. She tells him to back off, but it's clear his threats have shaken her. Things escalate again when Betsy is suddenly arrested, accused of damaging a police car, resisting arrest, and assaulting an officer. Becky's terrified for her daughter, but not afraid to break a few rules, Amy continued. She's lived outside the law for years in Alicante, so she's not someone who panics about legal limits. Lisa follows the rules, Becky bends them. Her instinct is always, what can I do to get my daughter out of this mess? She knows she'll find a way. When Becky confronts Costello, he delivers an ultimatum. Return to Spain, or he'll make Betsy's situation far worse. There's a quiet voice inside Becky telling her to leave for her family's sake, Amy added, but she refuses to listen. She truly believes she can fix everything, no matter how bad it gets. That's her flaw in her drive. She thinks love and determination can solve any problem. Now the question looms large. Will Becky vanish again to protect her daughter? And if she stays, just how far will D.I. Costello go to silence her? One thing's certain. Danger is brewing once more on Coronation Street. Catch Coronation Street Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and stream anytime on ITVX or YouTube.